Hey everybody, we're doing things a little bit different today. Like first of all, you might notice that I am down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and that's because I realized on YouTube that they are Mike Wazowskiing ya boy, and I can't have that. But really the main reason is that over here, when I'm trying to show things in the sidebar, like how to do public roles or something like that, I realized that you guys couldn't see what I was typing, and that's more problematic than you not being able to see my list of players down here in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'll be down here going forward. Now, what we're doing today is taking a look at running an actual adventure from Lost Mines of Phandelver, so part of an adventure, the Red Brand Hideout, in Foundry, and how you can do it so that it's easy for you to run, and we're going to take a look at it from both the DM's point of view and the player's point of view. So I think that hopefully should clarify a lot of things for some people that are looking at Foundry for the first time. So we're going to start in the DM's view and actually putting together the map. So I've actually already put this all the way together, but that's because I didn't want you guys to have to spend 45 minutes watching me draw wall points and door points. But we're going to go over everything that I did. So the first thing was that I imported the map exactly how I did in the video that I did on importing a scene and setting up a grid, because this map is from D&D Beyond. It's the downloaded player's view because there is a DM's view, but I didn't want them to have the numbers and the fact that there were secret doors on it. So I'm using the player's view in this, since the players will actually be able to see it. And so I imported it, I set up the grid, it's about 150 with a little bit of an offset, I think it was like 7 to the left or something like that, and we got all of our grid lines lined up perfectly. So now that we've got the map in, one of the things that you can notice in D&D Beyond's description is that they have this first overview area that says ceilings, doors, secret doors, all that kind of stuff. And then it mentions that most areas are brightly lit by oil lamps and wall sconces refilled every few hours as needed. Now, rather than having to go into each one of these rooms and set up an individual light and multiple lights where there might be walls in the way, one thing that we can do is come into Red Brand Hideout, open it up. Under lighting and vision, we can set global illumination. We can check that. Now, what that means is that all of your tokens, so long as they have line of sight, will be able to see everything in this map. So they can't see through walls, but every room that they're in, they'll have normal vision, because every room in here is well lit, because all of the Red Brand ruffians are humans. They don't have dark vision. They need to be able to see. So that's a quick and easy way to avoid having to set up lights and reduce a little bit of processing that Foundry will have to do. So we're going to close that up, and that was just getting the scene ready and imported. Now we're going to take a look at what I normally do first, which is setting up walls. And you can see once I select walls that I've got them set up all over the place, different colors representing different types of walls, and that happens automatically. I didn't do that myself. That's all Foundry. But normally what I like to do is start with the secret doors. So there's a secret door down here, click, click. There's a secret door here, and then there's a secret door here and here. So I laid those out first, and then I like to go through and do the actual doors. So I set up a door, door, yada, 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 doors everywhere. And then I would go through and actually do the normal walls. So I would come through, take care of the rest of the walls in this first room, making sure that I connected points to the points where the doors are so that you can't see through. There's no sliver of space where your players are going to be able to get line of sight and see what might be going on in a room before they get there. I drew them all around here, and one thing to note is that here I used normal walls, here I used terrain walls, and we'll see what the difference is there for the players in a minute. But basically, when you're placing walls, make sure that you pull them back in a little bit so your players can see a little bit of the wall, but not, all the way into the next room. Because if I had placed it directly on this black line, that's exactly what it would be. It'd just be a black line, and your players wouldn't have the added context of seeing the type of wall, a little bit of the stone accenting and things like that. So I think that's helpful. One other thing I would say is that you should not make dot 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 here while trying to make it as pinpoint accurate to the actual wall as possible. Do broad strokes. I could have probably actually gone simpler than this, because it's not a big deal if the players see into some of the wall. It's only a problem if they see through to the other side where a room is. Blocked everything off all the way around and connect walls. And for some places where it doesn't really matter if they can see through, you don't necessarily have to put a wall there, because all they're going to see is the outside of the map. And then I would also go through and cover any environmental things that I wanted the players to see in terrain walls. So that's these things like rocks. I want them to be able to see the rocks, but not see past the rocks. And that's what terrain walls do. And we'll see that from a player's point of view in a moment. So once I have placed all the secret doors, all the normal doors, all of the walls and everything like that, then we can start looking at putting journal entries into each room. So the thing that I like to do, oh, sorry, let me get rid of those real quick, is that in D&D Beyond, they have keyed every room and they've put in a description that you can use. And they mention what's in each area, like in the cistern, in the secret door, what might happen if your players are being particularly loud in that area, all kinds of things. And so if you just copy and paste these, you can come over here to the journal entries over here, and I have a folder for the Red Brand Hideout. And if you create a folder, you can hit this cool quill icon here, and it will add your journal entry directly into that folder, so you don't have to select the folder that it should be in, so it's nice and quick. And so we can open up the cellar and see that in the same way that D&D Beyond had that initial description, let me widen this out so that it doesn't have a big scroll bar, we can see that we've got the description in here. Copying and pasting it actually brought in this additional block styling behind it, and normally all of these also had white behind them, but I found that if you were in the edit view and you highlight basically everything and you come into blocks and hit paragraph, that it would keep the styling for things like the bold and the italics and things like that, but it would get rid of the white background. But if you want to get rid of everything, you can just hit this clear formatting button. Then I also came through and added headings to these specific areas, which gives it this nice horizontal rule, so you get separation from everything and get quick overview access to the things that you need. So let me close that, and I made one of these for each area that the player can go into, and I set them up at the entrance so that I can get quick access to them. So when they come in here, I can open this, I can say, it appears to be storeroom, press into service as living quarters. 2 double bunks stand against the wall, while barrels and crates fill the southern half of the chamber. Also, there's 3 Red Brand ruffians, and they're going to try to kill you if you weren't sneaky while you came in here. So let's close that out, and you can see that I've got these for each one of the rooms: the Tresender crypts, the slave pens, the armory, the storeroom and work area. And you can open each one of these up and see what's going on in there, a description, what treasure there's going to be in there, and you could rearrange this however you want, get rid of things, add additional things, all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm going to close that out. And then once I had added a journal entry for every room, I went through and I started adding in kind of environmental dangers. Like, one of the interesting things in the Red Brand Hideout is that there's a big trap here. And I actually haven't covered how to do this in one of my basics videos because it's not something that you needed absolutely to get a game going, but let's do a quick basics video here. We're going to go over to the drawing tools, and we can select this draw rectangle option. We'll draw a quick rectangle out, and it will place it. And then if we come in and we double click to select it, we can see that we've got access to a whole bunch of information about it, but the main interesting area is the lines, where we can set the line width, its color, opacity, smoothing factor, all that stuff. You can fill it if you want it to have a color fill, or you can even put a template in there if you want it to be an icy chamber or something. You can put a repeating ice pattern in there if you want. And then in text, I went through and I just wrote in trap, so it would be super obvious to me what it was that it did. And then I could always refer to this journal entry and say, the pit trap in the middle of the hallway is hidden under a false floor. If they notice it, I would say this, if they pass the DC 15 wisdom check. Oh, and one other thing quickly about copying and pasting all of this from D&D Beyond that's cool is, say you needed to get quick access to what a potion of healing was. By copying and pasting it, it keeps all these links active. So if you have D&D Beyond, you can still click through and get immediate access to a lot of item information if you don't want to convert it all over to Foundry right away. So you can do a partial transference over to Foundry if you want. So let me close that again and go back to how we're going to hide this from our players. So if we have it selected, I'll zoom in, we can right click anywhere in here and we get the same toggle visibility state that we get with other actors. So let me hit toggle visibility here, and that will make it invisible. But we can also make it visible once our players have seen it, so that they can remember that it's there as well. And I don't think I mentioned this actually when I was talking about placing, or actually have I gotten, no, I haven't gotten to placing enemies. Sorry, I've recorded this a couple times now, so I've forgotten what things I have already covered. But anyway, so we place the trap. We have information about it in our journal entry. It's set to be invisible, so our players can't see it. And then we're in a pretty good place in terms of knowing what's going on in all of these rooms. And the only thing that we have left to do is actually place our enemies. So I took out of the SRD over here, in the monsters SRD, I took a common bandit, I pulled it into my list of actors, and I renamed them to be the Red Brand Ruffians. And I went to D&D Beyond, and I grabbed out their statistics. I updated them. They've got a little bit more health than a common bandit, a little bit different attributes and things like that. So I set that, and I dragged out 3, and so we've got 3 Red Brand Ruffians right here, easy peasy. Then I also came through and pulled in the skeletons. Those are just totally normal D&D skeletons. More Red Brand Ruffians over here, and then I pulled in 3 commoners over here to represent Myrna, Nilsa, and Narj, just so we have a quick memory that they're actually in that room. Those Red Brand Ruffians, we got more Red Brand Ruffians over here. We have the 3 bugbears over here that are torturing Droop, that your players will probably want to save because he's cute and sad and cowardly. And then we also placed a rat, which is Glassstaff's familiar, who will let him know if the players are coming through the laboratory. And then the last enemy that had to be placed was the Nothic. Now, a Nothic is not in the SRD, so I didn't pull it in here, but you could easily go through and copy the stats to any other character or actor, update the token and update the name, or even just use the Mystery Man icon for the token, and make it the Nothic. And I did the same thing that we did for the trap here, which was right click, hit toggle visibility, because the Nothic's hiding in the crevasse here, and your players won't be able to see it until it either makes an attack or they roll a perception check while looking into the crevasse to be able to find it. So that's the basics of actually setting up the map. Now let's take a look at what this looks like for a player that's going through. And actually one last thing is that I take the section from D&D Beyond that's an overview for the room, for the entire place, and I pulled that out, which is ceilings, doors, secret doors, even though that part's not super relevant. And then the light, which we talked about earlier, why we have everything set to global illumination. But the important bit is what the red brands know. So if they capture and interrogate a red brand, you can quickly refer back to this to find out what information they know on what roles. And so let's close that out and move this window over so that we can get a DM and a player view. And I'm going to stay without any tokens selected so we can see what a DM would see the entire time. And we're going to grab our player. The DM would open their journal entries, read out what's going on. Your players would make rolls if they wanted to make a perception check over by this door, and maybe they hear the red brand sleeping. They might open the door, stealth in if you're playing them as sleeping as opposed to just resting. They might stealth in and try to take them out, or they might get into combat with them if they're already awake. So in the DM side, you can easily open up your notes, say, this is what's in here if they're asleep, yada, yada, yada. And then you can select all 4 of them, right click, go to toggle combat state, and you can suddenly, or actually I don't think I toggled it. Oh, I'm toggling visibility, not that. There we go. Combat state. Now we've got it. And you can start running combat. So just deselect all those tokens so you're not restricted to their view. And you can roll for everybody. You can start doing combat, or you can roll it however you want to roll it, and start making attacks. You can refer back to the running an encounter video to find out how to run combat, because we're not going to do all of that right now. So we'll say the players win. We can open up our journal entry, find out what treasure they get, hand it over to them, and then they can go on their merry way. And we can say that they come down here, maybe they try to roll a perception check just to see if there's anything going on in the room. And we, as dungeon masters, know that there's a door, And it's a little hard to see because it's a white icon on a white wall. But the player can't see that there's a door here, but we can since we're the DM. And if they roll high enough and they open it up, bam, we can click open right there, just like any normal door, and they can start going through it. Let's leave them there for now, come back up here and send them through this door. And we can see that the trap does not appear for them in the player view, but it does for us in the DM's view. So we know exactly when they get here, bam, you've fallen through a false floor. There are spikes at the bottom, take 1d6 plus 2 damage or whatever it is that you're doing. Let's say that they make it past and they keep coming through the doors. They can open this up. And then if they're not wearing the garb from the red brands in the previous room, or they don't know the secret code word of Illifarn to prevent the skeletons from attacking them, they'll get attacked. We'll go into combat again. But they can just keep moving through, come in, fight these guys, release these tokens, or release these people. And then if you want as a DM, if they send them away, you can just, grab all 3 of their tokens, drag them off the side, and then ta-da, they're gone. And then our players can keep navigating through. We'll keep opening doors, coming through, come into the storeroom, find anything they want in there. And this is another area with a secret door. So if they roll high enough perception, they can pop it open and keep going through. And like I said previously, we can keep looking at, oh, sorry about that. I meant to show that later. This was supposed to be on text. There we go. So we can keep opening this up and referring to it as our notes for a description if we want. And we can describe everything in any treasure that they find. Let's keep going back to the player view and let our players keep navigating through. And so this is the difference between terrain walls and normal walls. As I set up the terrain walls over here, as you can see all along, but it's not blocking off vision. It blocks off vision beyond the wall, so we can see that it's getting cut off here for our players, but they can still see the actual selected area, but their vision is being blocked here by this other wall, which is why I can place this here and not have to trace through all of this. And that makes it so our players can still see like the outcropping of the rock and everything like that, which I like to see. And then I traced out the 2 rocks here so that our players can see them, but not beyond them. So that's the difference between terrain and normal walls for our player view. And our players can keep coming through. And let's say that the Nothic decides to make an attack, we can just come in quickly, toggle visibility, bam, start combat, or they can start having a weird interaction with it like my players did. We can keep going, quickly adventure through, and keep in mind that oh wait, sorry, I was doing that on the DM view, meant to do that on the player's view, that there is an alternative entrance for Tresender Manor. So if your players are going through that alternative entrance, they followed that kid's advice and they're sneaking through, make sure that when you're loading them into this scene, you move their tokens over here instead of at the beginning. So when they activate in the scene, they'll be in the correct location. You could even have a copy of this scene where they're at a different place and just activate that one instead of this one if you wanted. But anyway, we'll keep going, come over here, pop open doors, fight these guys. You're starting to get the picture of what it's like. So they'll be coming through. You can open up your notes, read through, check for perception checks for additional combat information, that the fact that they're poisoned. If we don't remember what the poison rules are, we can come in and D&D Beyond will help us out. And so let's close that. You can run combat, or you can run the social part if they try to trick them, if they're wearing their clothes and they're sneaky. We can open this up, keep coming through. They can see the rat, they can make an attack, or they can not figure out what the rat is for whatsoever. Keep coming through the doors and all that good stuff. And then the same thing with their ability to roll for perception checks. Here at the door, we can always open those or anything. We've got additional notes. We have access to the letter from the Black Spider to Iarno that shows that he is a bad person and all that good stuff. And actually over here, I meant to show this at the beginning, but when they come into this room and they're first interacting with the Nothic, One cool thing with Foundry that I showed in the journals video is that you can upload all this text and everything, but you can also upload an image, and you can hit show players and that image will pop up on your player screen. So you can use that as additional context when you're describing something if they want to see what it actually looks like. So that's super cool. So we can close that, and they can close that out at their own will. And that's the basics of running an actual adventure in Foundry VTT and what it looks like roughly in a super fast forwarded kind of way from a DM and a player's point of view, and how it was set up and why it looks the way that it does. I hope that this was helpful. I also hope that you know that Foundry is available for pre-sale today for $50 one-time license. And if you've been a backer on Patreon, then you can get a discount on it. It's like 75% of your amount, rounded down to the nearest 5 or something like that. I can't remember. But you get some kind of discount. And it's super cool. It's really worthwhile. As you can see, it makes running a game a lot easier. And hopefully it'll help you. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one.